What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I just watched the interview Keith one-time Thurman did, media workout. He was asked about Terence Crawford fight, in which Keith Thurman responded by stating that he has no interest in fighting Terence Crawford. He said that his side could entice him, but he has no interest in facing Terence Crawford. He stated that Terence Crawford hasn't beaten anybody worth significance. He stated that he played matchmaker for Terence Crawford by telling Terence Crawford to at least beat a fighter like Amir Khan. He said, and then they made the Amir Khan fight. Stated that, Terence Crawford, you want me to be a matchmaker? You want me to tell you who to fight next? He said that if Terence Crawford is to beat Kell Brook, that might interest him. And then Terence Crawford would have beaten somebody worth note. He said he would get a big slice of credibility pie if he beats Kell Brook. And which Ness responded by stating that this version of Kell Brook, and Keith Thurman responded by saying, yeah. He said that Kell Brook is still a top 5 welterweight from the past 5 years or so, right? A top welterweight from the past 5 years or so. He said that who at welterweight beat Kell Brook? How many times has he lost at welterweight? We know that he only lost to Errol Spence. Was his only loss at welterweight, right? Outside of that, he beat Sean Porter and for the IBF strap, in which Errol Spence beat him for that same belt. My thing about is this with Keith Thurman, when you're dealing with Keith Thurman in this situation, the whole world knows that Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He said that Terence Crawford could have beaten Jeff Horn within 4 rounds if he fought him orthodox, but he chose to fight him southpaw and drag the fight out. Said that if he fought him orthodox stance, he would have beat Jeff Horn within 4 rounds. Nobody believes that Terence Crawford is not a good fighter. I don't care if it's at welterweight, junior welterweight. I don't care what weight class it is, okay? Terence Crawford is a hell of a fighter. He's a great fighter, right? And so for Keith Thurman to continue to dismiss him and say he has no interest is really ridiculous, to say the very least. To say the very least is really ridiculous. Right? To say that Terence Crawford resume. So he was asked about Danny Garcia. You fought Danny Garcia? He said Danny Garcia cleaned out the division. Danny Garcia was never undisputed. Terence Crawford was at 140. What do you mean Danny Garcia cleaned out the division? Terence Crawford officially cleaned out the junior welterweight division. Now, Danny Garcia fought Lucas Mentise, who was looked at as the boogeyman at one point. But guess what? Victor Postol stopped Lucas Mentise, beat him up badly. And Terence Crawford beat Victor Postol, who was then looked at as the boogeyman. So he beat the man and beat the man. Okay? Danny Garcia beat Amir Khan. Terence Crawford now beat Amir Khan. 2 different versions of Amir Khan, but they both beat Amir Khan, right? You look at who else did Danny Garcia fight? He beat Zab Judah. Well, Terence Crawford beat Yuriorkis Gamboa when Yuriorkis Gamboa was somebody, undefeated. Okay? He was more of a threat than Zab Judah was at that point in their career. All right? Then Danny Garcia beat, and that was a close fight with Danny Garcia and Lucas Mentise. Terence Crawford and Victor Postol wasn't a close fight at all whatsoever. It was a domination, to say the least. And like I said, Victor Postol stopped Lucas Mentise, and Danny Garcia refused to fight Victor Postol. So I know a lot of people don't remember how Victor Postol was perceived at that time, because, you know, out of sight, out of mind. So a lot of people don't remember how Victor Postol was perceived at that time, right? He was looked at the boogeyman, and a lot of people don't remember that. But hey, I do. Real boxing pundits understand this. And so with that said, you know, who else did Danny Garcia beat? Right? He beat Robert Guerrero. You don't think that Terence Crawford would be favored to beat Robert Guerrero? Okay, so I think that Keith Thurman saying this, in my opinion, is a cop-out not to fight Terence Crawford. Point blank and period. There's no other way to slice it. There's no other reason for him to say that he has no interest in fighting Terence Crawford, who's another belt holder. You should be looking to want to become undisputed. Not saying that Terence Crawford doesn't interest you. Why wouldn't he interest you? He's a belt holder. He's undefeated. He's recognized globally as the best fighter pound for pound in the world, outside of a few that have an agenda and would say it's Vasyl Lomachenko. But Vasyl Lomachenko himself don't even say that. He says that Terence Crawford is. So most people recognize Terence Crawford as the best pound for pound fighter in the world. So that's like saying Floyd Mayweather is not worthy. Terence Crawford has been looked at as the best pound for pound fighter in the world since Andre Ward retired. So how could you, and like I said, you get a handful of people that say Vasyl Lomachenko, mainly people from ESPN. Not real boxing pundits won't say that. So he's a switch hitter. He's dynamic boxer, skills, movement, speed, athletic ability. How you say you have no interest in fighting that man, but you had more interest in fighting Danny Garcia? Is it because you felt like Danny Garcia was you liked your chances against Danny Garcia more than you do Terence Crawford? Or is it that he's trying to build a fight up between himself and Terence Crawford? Who knows? But I think that would be a great fight, a great technical match between Keith Thurman and Terence Bud Crawford. Right? And Keith Thurman, man, you're going to have to do something, bro. Because you're going to start losing fans this way. People are already starting to doubt you because of the Errol Spence situation. Now you get this Terence Crawford situation. It's not going to look good. It's not going to bowl well. It's not going to go over well with the fans. Point blank and period. Right? And I think that that's a great fight. I think that that's a 50-50 fight. So I don't know if Keith Thurman is trying to build this fight up, or he's truly believed that he have no interest in Terence Crawford, which would be utterly ridiculous. So you fought Sean Porter, you fought Danny Garcia. When Danny Garcia got that green strap, you was eager to get in the ring with Danny Garcia, but now you're not eager to get in the ring with Terence Crawford. I understand the WBO is not perceived the same way the WBC belt is, but you was eager to jump in the ring with Danny Garcia, and you pointed out, you cited the reason was his resume in the lower weight division. Well, Danny Garcia didn't achieve what Terence Crawford did. Just didn't. Terence Crawford is a 3-division champion. Danny Garcia is not. Right? So, resume-wise, at the very least, it's the same. At the very, very least. Most people favor Terence Crawford resume. Now, Danny Garcia ain't fighting no scrubs. His resume is nothing to sneeze at all whatsoever. Great resume, Danny Garcia. But the fact remains, Danny Garcia lost his big fights with Keith Thurman and Sean Porter. Now, he won other big fights. Mainly, people will look at the Matisse fight and the Amir Khan fight. Right? But aside from that, he lost his big fights. No slight to Danny Garcia. But he lost to Sean Porter and he lost to Keith Thurman. Terence Crawford is still undefeated. So, for Keith Thurman to say this, in my opinion, is utterly ridiculous. And this is the problem with the sport of boxing. Keith Thurman is a very, very smart man. Keith Thurman has a very high boxing IQ, right? He's a very smart individual. Keith Thurman knows exactly what he's doing. I don't know if Keith Thurman is trying to make himself the villain. I don't know what Keith Thurman angle is. But at this point in time, Keith Thurman is going to start losing fans when he starts keeps continuing to say stuff like this. You continue to say stuff like this, you're going to start losing fans, man. You already started getting people turning on you with this Errol Spence situation. Now it's only going to grow worse with this Terence Crawford situation. People already feel like you're not looking to fight Errol Spence. You're scared to fight Errol Spence. Most people feel like you're fighting Manny Pacquiao, who's over the hill, but you wouldn't get in the ring with Errol Spence. That's not a good look for Keith Thurman, man. It's just not. Keith Thurman needs to mix it up with Terence Bud Crawford, man. Especially if he's victorious in this fight. The only fight we're going to call for after this, Keith, is either Terence Crawford. If you're not fighting Errol Spence Jr. next, Keith Thurman, then everybody's going to be calling for you to fight Terence Crawford. Let somebody else step through the ropes with Keith Thurman outside of Terence Crawford or Errol Spence in his next fight and see the criticism he receives and the backlash. Let that happen. Let that be the case and see what happens. He will never be able to live that down. Ever. Ever. Until he stepped through the ropes with them, and he better be victorious. You better be victorious. If your next fight is not Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, should you beat Manny Pacquiao in a couple weeks? If your next fight is not Errol Spence or Terence Crawford, guess what? Guess what? The criticism and backlash you're going to receive is going to be out of this world. And then it's not going to stop until he steps through the ropes with one of them. And then you better not lose. You better not lose. You better not come up short. Because people are going to look at your career as nothing short but failed. And that would be a shame with somebody with so much talent and so smart with such a high ring IQ for that to be the case. It's ridiculous, man. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shouts out to the entire LDBC. Shouts out to New Media. Shouts out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Keith one-time Thurman says he has zero interest in facing Terence Bud Crawford, who's recognized worldly as the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world. Amazing. That's all I got for y'all, man. Peace.